Hello everyone. I hope you're not yet bored with the talks, although all of them have been such an inspirational speakers. But I know, I have been in the college. I am in the college and sitting in the auditorium and listening to speakers sometimes become a little boring task to do. But I'll try to break some monotony. And before starting, I would like to share I have stammer in my speech, and for which I no more feel guilty or apologetic. So thank you so much. First of all, I'm tremendously honored to be invited here to share my idea with such remarkable speaker doing extraordinary things in their fields, and I'm super proud to stand before you and on this very significant day that also reminds us how important is it to challenge our thoughts, mindset, and perspective constantly in this very fast and constantly changing world. So through my talk I would like to share a recipe how all of you can become superheroes. So first of all, I would like to ask you a few cues. How many of you wanted to become superheroes or just adored superheroes when you were a child? Wow. Well, that's quite a lot of number. And how many of you dreamed of becoming one, or at least having one along with you, like Doraemon, or like you have a Superman along with you? So just to break the ice, like I was till my grade 10th, I used to before every day of exam, I used to just feel if I could have a Doraemon with me who could just take me through the time and I could know what my teacher is going to ask in the exam the next day, and I could just wash off my hands from learning a pile of books and doing rote learning basically. So now in this talk I'm going to share that how you all can become superhero, and you don't need a cape with extraordinary ability to fly, or you just don't want to shout from the gathering to become a superhero. Yes, you all can have become superhero. And now I think we all know what superheroes do. They fight with the big enemies. They stand for they stand for justice, and they just save the world from the biggest challenges that humanity is facing. And I think all of us are aware about the biggest challenges that humanity is facing today, from climate change to environmental degradation to mass extinction to systematic inequality to employment, and the list goes on and on. And at this time, we need people who can become change, who can lead change. And that's why it is not just an opportunity to fulfill your dream to become superhero, it is also a need of the hour to become superhero. So as the saying goes by Alan Turing, sometime it is the people no one imagine anything of who do the things no one can imagine. And yes, I'm talking about the young people. You would be surprised to know that one third of India's population is under the age of 24, and it also makes India as one of the youngest countries in the world. And it is evident throughout the history that young people have led change in almost every field, and yet we underestimate their ability. So I was 16 when I got to be a part of conference. It was on road safety, and there I met one such superhero who changed my life forever. So his name is Amar Srivastav, and he's founder of Indian Road Safety Campaign. He lost his 3 friends in a road accident. That was extremely traumatizing, He felt helpless. He was he was finding answer to many cues. He was just so much helpless that he he was finding ways if there was something he could save his friends through. If there was any way he could just save his friends from that road accident. And then that he found that we in India have normalized the road accident. If someone die by road accident, we feel like it's normal. It keeps happening. So he just started reading and researching about the scenario of road safety in India. And to his surprise, and to all of your surprise, one person die by road accident every 4 minutes in India, and that number is greater than the deaths caused by the world's greatest disease, the deadliest disease like cancer, etc., in the whole world. And that just shook him. Now, the most of us would do what we would do, and most of us would do is to just blame the authorities, or just put someone in the bar to say that he is responsible. They might be doing drunken driving, or they must have not wear the seat belt. Instead, he took it upon himself and started an initiative called Indian Road Safety Campaign to create awareness among young people and the citizens of India on how they can travel safely on road, and how they can avoid being getting into an accident. So, and this organization went on to become India's largest youth organization working on road safety, and they have been creating phenomenal impact to the date. They are bringing behavioral changes and change in habits of people. So what his story did, it gave me a sense of change making, and I realized that all of us have this extraordinary potential that we hold within. We just need to realize it. We are the young people, and young people have throughout the history have achieved extraordinary things. Just look at Elon Musk. Just look at the founder of Amazon, Twitter. They all started very young. I sought the support of my teachers, principal, school, who helped us to making it more systematic, to make it more streamlined, so that other schools they can also other schools we can also implement doing such activities. So we created these activity aids for different classes for different chapters, and that became a big hit. We reached to 23 schools and to more than 20,000 students, and that gave me an immense amount of confidence. This experience humbled me and gave me a huge moral responsibility. And from there I just started wondering that what if, just like me, everyone would had the power to do just what they want to do, to change what they want to. And that's when I asked myself that uh, if we are human by chance, does education play a role in making us more humane? Just ask yourself, if we are human by chance, does education plays a role in making us more humane? The answer was not so simple, and the answer was obviously unfortunate. Each stakeholder of education is so consumed in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and just chasing the high score that they simply forget that at the end of the day, if we don't have people of good character, people who do the right thing, Their intellect will finally destroy this world. They are not going to save it. And this triggered me to think, why in a country of more than 1.4 billion people, with almost one third of population under the age of 24, which also makes us one of the youngest country in the world, why there are so few change makers? Is it by luck? Is it by chance? Can we all not systematically and consciously feel empowered to be able to change what we empathize with, to be able to lead change? And this led me to work on my new idea to engage, empower, and inspire young people to become change makers. I, along my friends, started an initiative called the Tale of Humankind, where we used different mediums such as campaigns, stories, events, and now a classroom program also to build an army of young change makers. And in the next few minutes, I'll share 5 actionable steps that you all can do along with the impact of our classroom program, Youth Shala, which help young people to lead change. So, the steps are: find the problem you are passionate about. So, you must be thinking that, like, how to identify. Right now, you must be feeling like how to identify that problem. You must be like, you might not be able to recognize hands-on, but it's a process. Like, just our empathy is fueling us. Empathy fuels our ability to make this world a better place, and to make humane to preserve the humanity. And that's where this problem you will find. And it can be different for everyone. For someone, it may be environment. For someone, it could be animal rights. For someone, it could be menstrual hygiene. For someone, it could be skills. For someone, it could be different for everyone. So you have to find the problem that you empathize with. It should be fueled with empathy. And the second step is to expand your understanding of problem. So just imagine, the problem you see may not be a problem for some other person. Just imagine, we have a maid in our houses who does not come from a very good socioeconomic background, and he or she gets ill, and they send their child to work at your home. Now you might think that, no, I should just not allow her to work. She's a child. She should go to school. But from the perspective of maid, it is her daily wage. It is the earning that she will lose, because she's not as privileged we are. She don't have the saving. He or she do not have the saving. So we have to understand the problem, because ultimately we are not solving it just for ourselves. We are solving it for the society, and for that we'll have to understand the problem from the perspective of every stakeholder. And the third is build your solution to address the problem. And here, the solution can be different for everyone. It does not have to be starting an NGO, as most of the people think that to become a social entrepreneur, you just have to start an NGO. You can just do a campaign. Suppose you just want to implement climate education in schools. So, and just to tell why climate education is important, because education plays a very important role. Just as an example, many of you might think that climate education तो already होता है स्कूल में, like EVS हम पढ़ते हैं. So after even studying at EVS, our teacher teaches about plastic, harmful effects of plastic to the children. The students submit a project of harmful effects of plastic in a plastic folder itself, and the teacher will also accept it. The student will also submit it. So there's no empathy. This process is not fueled with empathy. So we'll have to make sure that all of our solutions are fueled with empathy. In this solution, as I was saying, It could be different, it could be a campaign, it could be a technological invention, it could be a technological intervention, it could be starting an NGO, a project, grassroots. You can do grassroots engagements, and there are many more ways through which you can advocate for the cause you believe in. And the next step is to find your tribe. Here, you have to build a team because in a country of 1.4 billion, you can alone not solve the problem. You will have to find the people with similar mindset who complement your skills. Maybe it doesn't always have to be like अरे उसके पास भी उसको ये चीज़ आती मुझे भी आती तो हम इसके साथ टीम बना लेना चाहिए. It's not like that. You should have team in which people are there who complement your skills. And the next thing is communicate, implement, and improve your solution. Now, when it comes to communication, it comes to the real part of change making. When you have to go on the grounds, you just have to use online pathways. So how are you going to grab the attention of the people? How will you convince them that it is really a problem? So here comes the communication part, and for this communication part, it's important that you realize the situation and realize the status of problem from their perspective, and that's where it will help, because in the words of Maya Angelou, no one is going to remember what you said. No one is going to remember what you shown them. Everyone is going to remember how you made them feel. It is what people are going to remember, and for that you have to step into their shoes, understand from their perspective, and then have to communicate with them. And ultimately improvement is like change is the only constant. Like problem की जो dynamics change होंगे, हमें अपनी strategies improve अपनी करनी होगी, हमें different solutions, how to improve them, how you have to re-strategize them. So these 5 steps act as a basic steps for anyone to become change maker. And maybe after listening to me, you may be feeling confused of what problem do you want to get started with, or what you're passionate about. But I would not hung up on telling you how screwed the world is. I've already shared a lot of problems, and there are like endless number of problems. And the scariest thing is increasingly these social problems are outrunning the solution. इससे पहले हम एक प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन ढूंढते हैं, सामने 3 प्रॉब्लम्स और आ जाते हैं. It is evident from the COVID-19 pandemic, जहाँ पर हम एक कोविड को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, वहाँ पर 3 प्रॉब्लम्स और आ गई. जब घर पर जो the domestic violence increased with the females at home, the girls were not able to access the menstrual hygiene product. So increasingly these social problems are outrunning the solution, and that's why we all need to become superheroes. And instead of saying that like I'm confused or where to work from, I would just tell myself that both good and bad things are going to happen, but it is my responsibility to allocate some of the goodness in my heart to as many people as possible and impact their lives. And at the end, to be a change maker means to be able to inspire others to adapt the environment you want to create. And know that it is not easy, because habits and bringing the systematic change takes a lot of time. If I say something to you like change this habit, you are not going to change this habit instantly. It is going to take a hell lot of time. So you have just to be the change that you want to see the world, and considering how have all of us have learned to adapt in these 2 years, I think we all are already a change maker. We just have to move one step ahead and be a real superhero.